All right, I'll bring the November 19th, 2025 meeting of the North Stonington Board of Finance to order. Mike Anderson, the chair, we have Dan Smith, vice chair, Carl Johnston, who's now an alternate, Gary Nino, welcome Ed McGowan, who's also an alternate, Lou Gingerella, and Winona Burdine is a new full-fledged member. Move on to the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On to public comment. Anyone in the room have some public comment? Sure. Yeah, please. Yeah, if you can. Thank you, Winona.
So I just want to say, I dropped two things on your desk. One is the P&L. So you have a hard copy because I know you're always trying to find it in your phones. That's the one through September. And the other thing on reval is what the new assessor's been giving out to people that go in to the assessor's office. She's also going to do a half-hour explanation of reval before the town meeting on the 24th. So that'll also be Zoomed, but answer questions. And just, this is Cecile's loves that she's be able to hand this out because it explains exactly what reval is and why we do it. So that's it. That's all I want to tell you. Thanks.
Winona?
I did have a question in the budget, in the P&L, Bob. Let me see what the line item is. Bob, sorry, I have a quick question. There was B9, the annexation line item. This, we've already spent the 16.9 out of the 20. I was just curious if you thought that where we were going to be for the year.
So we're working with Perkins Cooley on that. We met yesterday, myself, Legend, and Preston. We think that right now, I was just in the federal courthouse in Bridgeport 2 weeks ago on a hearing with the tribe. We got to exceed it. I just don't know by how much yet. It could be as much as 30 or 40,000. We're hoping, two things we're trying to do is get a budget. Right now, we're going back and forth through the Attorney General's office. Judge Fitzgibbons is handling the case. It's the Attorney General in the state of Connecticut versus the tribe, representing all three towns. And because we're negotiating back and forth, one thing that when they gave us a settlement that they'd like to see, it's no way near being acceptable by the towns. Plus, none of the three towns have the ability, the CEOs don't have the ability to accept an agreement anyway. We all have ordinances say they have to go back to the town for town approval and referendum. So we put that disclaimer that we'll come back with a counter offer, which we did, which is probably so one-sided in favor of the towns, they're going to look at it and there's no way we're going to agree to this. And we're going to continue to do that until either the case gets dropped or someone steps in and says, well, now we have to come to a settlement. But we've always, and every time we do that, we put a disclaimer saying we don't have the power on our own. We can give you a proposed settlement, but it still has to go back to the town for ratification. Because of this, what's going on now, I think it is going to be somewhat expensive. It could be as much as another 30 to 40,000 between now and the end of the fiscal year. But we're also asking for an end date. Like, when does this end? We thought this was over to 8 years ago, 10 years ago when Sean was in office. And then it did kind of disappear for a few years and now it's back. And sometime in an executive session in the near future, if you'd like to do this, we can go into executive session and I can tell you exactly where we are on what we're arguing about. And I can talk about some of the things, the stipulations in the settlement that's been asked by the tribe, and also the counter settlement, which we've put forward to them. They have to December 8th to answer our counter proposal. And if they, once they answered it, if we don't like it and want to bring it back to our towns, then we have until January to go back with another counter proposal. And unfortunately, it's going back and forth. But the good news is the Attorney General's office is working with the towns. They have not stepped away. They've been asked by the tribe to drop this case, and the Attorney General's office will not. They had 4 members of the Attorney General's office in Bridgeport with us a few weeks ago when we were up there. So right now it's trending well for us overall, but still trending. It still costs us money, and we just want to know when it's going to end. If this ends now, can we say, okay, now for the next 10 years, we're not going to have attorney fees? So that's where we are.
And is this, I'm sorry that I'm forgetting, but is this the attorney fees that we split with the other towns, or is this ours indefinitely?
We split, but that would be our portion. We split a third, and a third when it comes to Mashantucket.
We're gonna just, we'll probably have you on maybe the next agenda on the 5th to have questions about what you presented to us tonight, if you don't mind. or-
Sure. I mean, do you want to go into executive session that evening? or
No,
do-
no, no.
Okay.
Oh,
No,
sorry.
no.
I didn't realize we weren't asking questions about this.
Yeah, well, he just gave it to us to have, so we have a
He
hard
had sent it
copy.
in the email the other day, right?
I did.
Yeah, he sent
I
it last
wasn't, I
week.
didn't, I'm sorry, I didn't put it on the agenda for tonight.
Oh.
No, I
missed
sent,
it.
I just wanted you to give you a hard copy to look
Yeah.
at. That's all.
Yeah, but we plan to have you at some point just to kind of,
Oh, you mean I didn't have to come tonight?
what's that?
Nothing. Thank you, Mike. I look forward to it.
Okay. All right, was there any public comment online? All right, I just want to again welcome the new Board of Finance members, Ed McGowan and Winona. I'm really trying to get that down. Because it's not only Winona, it's Burdine too, which can be Burdine, and I've done that in the past, so. I love it. And I wanted to discuss officers. Oftentimes we've, after elections, we do determine officers. I wasn't up for election, nor was Dan. You were, yeah, you were. Yeah, so Dan was up. So I just opened it up to the floor for discussion. We also need to appoint a secretary.
I'd like to nominate Dan as chair, vice chair. Is that right?
I'll second that. Any other nominations for vice chair? Hearing none, all in favor said aye. Aye. Any opposed? The abstentions.
Thank you.
So 1, 2,
Now we-
3, 4,
Thank
5, 5. We're missing anybody? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Like to nominate Michael Anderson for chair.
Seconded.
Any other nominations? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'll abstain. Did you vote for yourself? 501.
I wouldn't vote for myself either.
Okay, I didn't take
I'll
a
say that on the
poll.
record. I don't care. I went
501
like
for
this.
me. Secretary. Do I have any volunteers, first and foremost?
I'd say Ed McGowan. There you go.
Do you want to learn the ropes? And you're pretty organized, I heard. Well, we've done it as an alternate position just because it's. I think it just helps because, and I think it's really, would really help you as far as learning the board and the procedures and the. And I take notes. I know Dan takes notes. right on the agenda. And if you have any issues, then
You can always go back to YouTube.
Yeah. Okay.
I nominate. We can work that out.
talk to Carl. Months and months and months.
As soon as possible.
Winona can also be guilty of that, but they were stand-ins.
You do it. You do it. I'll second it. You do it.
Second nomination.
I'll nominate Ed McGowan, the third, be secretary.
At last meeting, there was a discussion, I heard in the recording, about finding a person, hiring a person to take notes for us.
Yeah,
What
we're gonna,
happened there?
I think during budget season, that would be a good.
yeah, I
for
think
us,
we-
but-
we'll definitely put it on the agenda again. I know Bob sent out an email like, some, I forget what he said, but I mean, I'd like to see how we work out with not having to incur another expense with Ed taking over.
I'd be happy to give it a shot.
Yeah.
See how we
And
go.
then, you certainly can put it on, we have to submit our budget. So I can put that on for the meeting on, I think it's the 17th or the 19th of December.
Yeah, I would like to, not because I don't think you're totally capable, but I do think it's like, there's a lot of different ways you could fill that gap. There could be somebody in town who wants like a little extra money to do it. You can also hire somebody to literally just call into this meeting, do the meeting minutes and then send them in on a, like, there's lots of ways that you can do this.
And you
that
could
should
have
be-
that position report to Ed, so Ed's got the final.
Yes,
There we go.
even better.
There you go.
That
See,
person-
we're already creating a management position for you.
Yeah.
You're anointed.
So
I accept.
I don't think it should be like a big expense, and I think the person doesn't also have to physically be here in the room. They could be online, so it's
It could be a freelance person.
exactly.
Yeah.
Who was the motion for my nomination?
Mine.
Yours, and who second?
Lou.
No, thanks.
It can be an AI bot. Could be anybody. Yeah.
Okay. So we have myself and Dan staying in our positions, and Ed, thanks for volunteering, and,
You have to vote on it.
oh yeah. All those in favor of Ed being secretary, say aye.
Aye.
6-0.
Good job, Ed. Yeah.
All right. We're on to policy discussions. I know, Gary, you sent out another version of Lou's, the policy for nonprofits. I'm gonna table that one we were supposed to do these on the 17th or the 19th. I want to be, I think it's December 7th because it's the 3rd. Yeah, we're meeting the 17th. For December 17th, that's when we were supposed to talk about policies, but since we didn't have Board of Education stuff to talk about tonight, I put this back on for this one. But I don't, I couldn't, when I tried to print print yours out,
You have to download it as a Word document and
Yeah.
then print it. You can't do it from,
I did it, I tried to open it from yours and it looked fine on then when I tried to print it, it had your undesignated fund policy all stricken out, and then the new policy in the bottom, I just,
so I did exactly what Winona described in the last meeting. I took Lou's Word document, PDF, compared it to the original Word document, merged the documents, and then layered my comments on it.
Okay.
So that's why it looks all scrambled like that, but that's the only way to make it work.
yeah, well, I think we're all set as far as your undesignated fund comments. I was just talking about I think you sent out something about
So first of all, just clearing the air, there was some conjecture in the last meeting I heard where Gary was doing something. I was responding to a request from Lou to comment on 2 policies, which I did. He sent them to me, I commented, I sent it back. Gary had no hands on any wheels for this.
no, I know, no one,
So,
yeah, I was just like, we kind of tabled any substantive,
Yep.
talk about changes to the undesignated fund policy because you had provided comments, but we didn't all have it. And, we didn't really have yours in front of us with comparing to the old one to really look at it well. So that's why I wanted to just table it till we have a chance to talk about it. But this is, I don't know if people printed out stuff, but I did print out some. I think I have enough for at least the sitting board members, and you can look on if you don't have it, but this is
And is,
there's three of this is, I think, the undesignated policy as it sits.
and Gary, I don't see that you did send an edited
You guys can look on-
nonprofit. Did you?
Maybe I didn't send the nonprofit. one
I
this
don't,
time.
okay, I don't see that you sent that.
No, this is the
I don't need
original.
anything. I'm good.
Oh, okay. You're good?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. Then this was. I believe this is Lou's. Yeah. Take three of those. You have your own, Lou? Okay. Winona, you need one? No? Okay. Here. I have another one. There's another one. We need one more down there? You all got it? This is Lou's. What's that? I am passing that out right now. This is Winona's. Were there any other? Okay, so we just have two other drafts, right? Lou's and Winona's. Am I missing anything? Okay. So. I think she said is you have what you just kind of commented on some of the. All right, why don't we, Lou, if you want to just kind of take us through what your rationale was and all of, the things that are underlined and stricken out, and Winona, if you had comments on those that are reflected on your copy, why don't you just chime in when we get to those spots, okay? Sound good?
So as far as the undesignated fund policy rationale, I just kind of just clean that up a little bit. It sounded like from the original one that there was some wording that came from government, state government stuff. So I just dropped this in there, and there's no great reason one way or another on that. This is just put on the table why we need to have an undesignated fund.
Okay.
To me, the more important stuff is the numbers that go with that. So I don't know
Okay.
how much time you want to spend on changing the wording for the rationale. Unless everybody just reads it and makes comments from there. I think that's the easiest way to do it.
And I didn't know if we had any appetite while we were reviewing this to look at the actual limits that we were setting, because the first comment that I had was, the maximum is 17 and a half. That's barely 2 months. That's not a lot. That's like not much, right? Like everyone's told you should have 6 months of savings. And so 2 months of savings just doesn't feel like it's all that much. And when we think about the crisis that we had with the bridge and how much money that cost us, that was a lot of money. And that's basically,
Mike, bring your mic down just a little bit.
So that was,
sorry.
it's sort of apples and oranges in that, we didn't have to hold the town government up for a month out of that account. We had a large capital investment to do. So I hear
I
what
see
you're
that.
saying. I have a tough time raising the limit because I don't think I don't feel that we should be taking the taxpayers' money and holding it in reserve for what if. And earning interest on it when they could be earning interest on it.
and I don't disagree. I just think we should be realistic about what
Yep.
we're saying here, is that this is, the numbers that we have are, they are what they are. I don't know where the 8 and the 17 came from, but when you just think about what it is that it supports, 2 months of expenses is me.
Are the numbers right? I agree.
All right. Can we, but if we could, go back to the first paragraph. We're here to look at the whole thing. So the undesignated fund policy rationale. Is there anything in that that we need to modify or change or add or remove?
I'm just rereading through it. I have one comment in the top paragraph, but if
Yep.
so I think the undesignated fund, it's the definition is there and it's in the rationale, right? The undesignated fund. Sorry, hold on. It is prudent to maintain sufficient reserves in the town's undesignated fund to meet any shortfall of budget. These reserves allow for continued orderly operation of town government, provision of services to residents, and the continued stability of the tax structure. I guess to me, that's like defining what we use it for. Do we feel like, I don't have like a specific comment because I didn't finish reading the rest of the document, but like, are we happy with that? That's specific enough and broad enough to cover the various scenarios that we have tapped the undesignated fund for.
I think it does, unless there's something additional to add to it. I don't think in reading that, nothing needs to come out. I don't see anything coming out. But
It reads more like, well, maybe we have it later in the document. Do we have anywhere else in the document where we're defining what we can use when we have the overage?
Yeah.
Maybe that's later. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's fine. Then I think that's probably sufficient for now.
And it's not just that, I guess, and to your point is there's 2 different scenarios. One is when there's an overage and what do we do? And one is what can we use it for? For instance, we have an appropriation request because something came up. The Giving Closet's one scenario. I think the Ambulance Association. So you're using, the fund could be at 14% and you still have those situations where you're using it. And the rationale is that it's to allow for the orderly, governance of this town. And those situations fall within that. But I agree with you. I'd like to see if, because I know it's, we've talked about it before, are we using this thing appropriately according to our policy? And that's kind of one of the reasons why we came back to revisit it to make sure that we do have the proper language in there. Because those are two separate scenarios. You know, and also if if we're using the undesignated fund to plug a hole in the budget, that's, you know, the continued stability of this tax structure, that's part of that. So, you know, that's part of that rationale.
Then continuing on to the under the fund policy.
Yeah.
Below that.
Yeah,
For-
that's,
for
that's it.
example, to-
Yeah.
to The comment before about how much maintain reserves to support at a minimum 1 month expenditure.
Yeah, I just got to that. That feels a little low.
At a minimum, if we make the minimum 2 months, then
Then-
we're at
Then
17%
we're at 17%.
for the minimum.
Yeah.
And then north of that. And I tend to agree with Gary that at some point, it's like we don't hold other people's money. The taxpayers' money, but then have their back or we'll get it personally.
And just to paint a picture, cover 1 month of the town's budget or 2 months of the town budget. That means 30 or 60 days of zero coming in.
So,
What's the reality of zero?
so
coming
when I wrote the policy, it was discussed 6 years ago. It would take Hartford or the federal government we should receive some funds within 60 days to backfill. And that's why that is the range of why we had that. It wasn't we're gonna go out on our own and we have 2 months worth of, jingle, but, it was because Hartford would take around 60 days or less to get us money. 6 years is 6 years.
I agree that it's not the same as like a house budget. You're not gonna lose your job. But there are areas where we could lose income, and we've discussed some of those in our board in the past where loss of tax revenue for various purposes.
Yeah, and I think when we war game that out a little bit, worst case, people have to get paid, certain things have to get paid, other things can get floated. You're not spending 100% of the budget for the whole 2 months. You're prioritizing your expenditures on that.
Yes, true. I think there's a lot of unknown, like, I'm not necessarily arguing for, I'm just trying to put the reality on the table. I'm not necessarily
Yep.
arguing for more. It looks like the Government Finance Officers Association recommends 2 months. So like we seem to be in compliance with that, but we have had a cybersecurity attack at the school. We don't know what those costs are going to be. Those are going to be quite large. So like that's an
Mhm.
unknown we couldn't have predicted a few years ago, potentially losing land off the tax roll. That's something we don't have a lot of control over if that happens. I'm sure there are more things that I'm not thinking of that could happen. So it's really more about, do we have the flexibility and speed to respond to any of those scenarios appropriately without burdening the taxpayers, without also overtaxing it. Like there is a sweet middle spot there. So, but I don't want to pretend that there's like, it can't happen, because it can.
Oh, definitely can.
There's other comments on that section. We can move on to page 2. think if we just, I mean, if we want to get into the discussion about the balance limits. This is it.
Well, so I guess I would, before we move on to those bullet points and to my point about like the bridge, it does say, so it talks about the minimum of 1 month's expenditures, but this also talks about unforeseen expenses like natural disasters or, something that goes completely left after the budget. Mill rate stabilization. And I had sent around an email whenever we said we were putting this on the agenda, that as we go through this, the one piece of this, when we get to the mechanics, I want to talk through the mechanics of when and how, because I am a little confused about the reality of how we would implement some of these things. When we were talking through the overage this year, it seemed, I think there was some confusion, or at least I was confused about how we would have done some of the other remedies if in fact we wouldn't have come up with a capital plan. So I want to make sure that it's understood how some of these other outcomes are even plausible. But this is not just meant for, we don't have income. This is meant for, as it says, natural disasters or something else. So again, Hartford doesn't send money or whatever, and if it was a month like August, when all of the bills are due for insurance or all of the, every month is not the same. So that's another thing, is that these 12 months are not, the bills for each 12 months does not look exactly the same. So if it was August versus January, that might be a different feel. So we have to keep that in mind as well.
Yeah, without doing it here, I think it might be, and I can take the action to just no. It's interesting because we have this section here in the starts on the first page, goes into the second page, which sort of defines what we're supposed to use the money for, but then we also do it and it's different information in if you have an overage, you may use it for these things. Do we want 2 different sections for 2 different, like
For what? I'm not sure.
so like this says you maintain it for these purposes. Loss of revenue, revenue shortfall, economic downturns, natural disasters, extenuating circumstances. So it's defining the reason you keep it. And then later we say, you can only use it for these 3 things: paying a prorated tax refund to the taxpayers.
That's an overage, so
It's an overage specific thing, but
Right.
it's not referenced at all here. Like it's I don't know.
I think it has to be structured the way it is right now, because we need to define why the fund exists and what its intent and use is supposed to be. And then secondary, if we have a couple good years, which we have had over the last couple of years, and we go over our cap, how do we get it back to the rightful owners? We should not be able to just keep it in perpetuity. We hit our max, we should have to reconcile.
I agree with that. I think maybe then it's just a bullet in the.
So the usage is way later in the document. So this was some of my comments. Like, I feel like some of I feel like we should number these and kind of like reorder them.
Yeah, and we should refer to them. So
So
like,
usage is later, and then we should talk about like, if it's under or over, what do we do?
yeah, and in the usage. we
It
should
does not
reference-
specifically like equal back to what we just talked about.
Correct. yeah,
Yes, I
we should
agree with you.
reference it. Just to make it clear, so that way people don't pick and choose what they. Because if I read, here's the thing, we've used the undesignated fund for things that are not in here, right? Like there's, if I go by just what is written,
I'm not sure which one, when was that?
well, in theory.
I've only been here 2 years. I have not, since I've been here, we haven't done.
Well,
We've
any,
used it.
any appropriation is coming from the undesignated fund.
Yeah, but they're all budgeted line items typically. There's one out there that's not a budgeted line item. That's sort of the elephant in the room. We'll get to that later. Typically, Bob has a maintenance budget that goes hot out. You've got to appropriate to make that line item balance. Or the ambulance association has a windfall and they have extra money from the previous year. It gets set back into the undesignated fund. So it is a bit of
Yeah.
a sponge. But I'm with Lou. As long as I've been on the board, it's always been budgeted line items or what's getting appropriated.
Or when we came short, was it last year, the year before? Not that, it was a fairly small dollar amount. We used the undesignated fund, so we didn't change the mill rate.
Right.
So, right, I'm just saying, that, yeah.
So
That's right.
It's listed as unforeseen revenue shortfall.
What, I'm sorry.
It's unforeseen revenue shortfall.
But so Sarah, I want to make sure that you're looking at like the original fund policy language, which is very generic.
Yeah.
It says the town of North Stonington is required by Connecticut state statutes to adopt a balanced budget each fiscal year. Any expenditure of the undesignated fund by the Board of Selectmen for such purposes requires the approval of the majority of the Board of Selectmen members and brought to the Board of Finance for approval. Any expenditures exceeding $20,000 shall be brought to a town meeting. Like, that's it. So I think the language that you're looking at in usage is Lou's markup, not the original. So there are no rules for the usage currently.
Oh, are these,
Different versions. They're not all merged together.
Yes.
okay,
So you got the original.
yeah,
You got Lou.
And you get the line.
yeah, this.
Oh,
okay,
yeah,
I
and mine
see.
doesn't have any edits, but yeah,
Oh,
the
this is-
original has no rules.
Okay, okay, well, that makes sense. So I think it's
'Cause
just
that's
maybe
what the
cleaning up
statute
the
is.
flow a little bit.
Yeah, so, and Dan just mentioned, I don't think you heard that that's what the statute says.
Yeah,
That-
20,000, you bring it to a town meeting.
Yeah, so this
Let's-
is in line with the current statute.
One little point of clarification for that particular, because there's no doubt that that provision is exactly what we've been using it for. The Board of Selectmen says we
Yeah.
need something that's in the budget that either, needs more additional money because there was more money spent and you can't take it from somewhere else. And that's all budgetary based and goes through the Board of Selectmen and they bring it to us. And then, of course, anything over 20,000 goes to a town vote.
But this doesn't
There-
even say that it has to be budgeted. It could be unbudgeted according to this.
But so if I'm reading the right one
It says
now,
for such purposes. So that's, my only concern with that is to adapt a balanced budget for each fiscal year. Any expenditure of the undesignated fund by the board of selectmen for such purposes. I just think we need one little additional thing in there for the unforeseen situation. Where they would have, they then come to us. It goes through the same process, but they need something, the bridge breaks. That's not necessarily a budgeted item, is it?
I would use the word
No.
unforeseen, not extenuating. You're gonna choose words.
We're in
Yep.
we're in
We're at-
usage.
We're in the usage section.
Usage section.
The original.
On the original
Yeah.
we're reviewing.
We're in this section of Walmart.
It's the very last section.
Yep.
I didn't include the signature line pages in there, because I
Yeah,
was trying to
same.
save paper. But the original one has, we're right now, we're looking at undesignated fund balance usage. We don't want to just read it out loud. And it's definitely appropriate for how we've been using it.
Correct.
I'm just proposing that we add one line saying there may also be unforeseen circumstances that require non-budgetary items to be paid for. And the same process happens, the Board of Selectmen votes to send it to us, and what do you think about that?
I'm confused. So does the first paragraph or the, I don't know, third paragraph on the first page qualify that paragraph? Or are they completely agnostic to each other? Because on the first page, we're saying We have adequate reserves readily available for appropriation if unforeseen expenditures or unforeseen shortfall revenue occur caused by economic downturns, natural disasters, or other unforeseen extenuating circumstances after the adoption of the annual budget.
So
So maybe that last part of the sentence just opens it wide, but like, I guess, why do we probably don't want two definitions.
or you just reference it saying outlined in section blah.
Yeah. Or whatever's here in the usage, if this is in the front is correct, which I think there's been some edits on it, but it's maintained similar,
Yeah, it's,
then the back one should reference that as, to your point, as.
There's no,
described.
you're talking about the rationale, tying the rationale into the usage?
The rationale has usage language in it, right?
It does.
So like the usage language should match each other. Otherwise, then you get into the debate of, well, this is this really an unforeseen occurrence if that's the terminology?
I
we're
would
using?
rather not have it in two spots. I
I
would
agree.
rather reference it saying outlined in this section and just basically reference it to the first section.
Yeah, I think maybe the first, because I think there's some nuances, like the
Mhm.
fact that if you have an overage, you can also use it for these three things. Like,
Yep.
we can not put the definition in the rationale. The rationale is the rationale, and then we reference that specific uses of it are outlined in sections. Like that. And then we don't have to.
If you ever have to change it, you change it in one spot. You don't change it multiple. Because most likely, if you change anything in that section, it's going to apply to all the other sections.
Yeah. Maybe makes the document shorter. Maybe. Maybe shorter.
And that was the timing, like of when are we looking at it? When does the clock start? How is it measured? That was also my comment, is that it seemed like those were in the wrong positions within the document too, so that needed to be adjusted. So this kicks off some of that.
I don't know if this document needs to be a waterfall document where it's, beginning to end. It can be pretty much picked and choose. However, if you need to go and find out, hey, I have I'm gonna have a shortfall, I go to that section for the shortfall. That was the intent of how it was laid out. It wasn't intended to, you read it from the beginning, you just kind of roll through it.
Hmm.
So on the second page, got the policy. We have numbers that collar how much should be there. And then there's, what do you do if it's if there's a shortfall? And what do you do if there's an overage? It seems pretty straightforward and logical as far as how you want to approach the document. And then the last is the review, the last page has the review
And the
and
usage.
and usage, so.
Have we ever had the finals before January 1st, as far as all the budgets, all the audits? So you guys are stating that the annual review should be no later than January 1st of each year. But we don't usually have our numbers until the annual review of policy. Of policy.
Yeah, not with the numbers, because the numbers are just gonna follow what the budget is. Right?
But if we do,
That is weird. The wording is weird.
so anyways, if January 1st would be all the numbers from last year.
That's what we work with.
Yeah,
Okay,
we set those numbers
We
prior
normally get back
to,
The audited numbers when,
usually April, March, by the time we're actually done. We still haven't got schools.
Yeah.
Right?
I think the
Schools-
intent was-
Schools hasn't closed out yet, so we don't know them.
and I think the intent was we would just receive the audits by the end of the year.
Yeah.
We look at them, but we'd also set that percentage right around the same time that
Okay,
we
I'm
would
just bringing
get
that up there if you wanted to move that 1 month so
when,
that we had all our numbers, but
yeah,
I'd rather just get rid of no later than January 1st of each year, just say, it after, in compliance with bond rating agencies' recommendations and the annual audit.
yeah.
But we also could add at least annually. We may not, we may want to review it. Something comes up, we got to delve into that again. So if we just said would be reviewed at least annually. But that doesn't make it, so we can't review it midterm.
Well, you
And
can,
we probably should get rid of that word limits, because we're not looking at the limits, we're looking at the undesignated fund
Well, so
balance.
that's my question. So in the annual review, are we looking at the limits, the 7.5 and the 15, or 8.5 and the 15? Or are we looking at the actual balance?
I would say the balance is probably the most important thing
Balance.
versus, because
When we're looking at the balance, it's gonna be, it's gonna tell you what percentage you are.
Right, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Actually, because when you're reviewing it, it's all right. The 8.5 and the 17% still adequate, given the dollar amount that represents.
yeah, how he equates out.
Right, so.
I'm actually just reading through the comments. I can't really tell. All your comments, Lou, are just formatting. So most of yours is just the change of the text.
The changes are actually shown in the document. The
Yeah.
Formatting is a result of a compare documents between a Word document and a PDF.
Yeah,
So you can pretty much just strike everything on the right border and just look at the document.
well, Winona actually has comments on the side.
That's, I'm just saying for loser.
Oh,
Winona's
for the-
is spot on.
Yeah,
We're in it to win it, right, Winona?
A minute for something. So I did make a comment in the annual review section where we mentioned bond rating agencies to determine to be in compliance with bond rating agencies recommendations. That was the first and only time that even actually comes up in the document. And so I was wondering like what relevance that has and how that ties it to the rest of
Well,
it.
it's not, it's tied in, Winona, because we're part of the policy rationale is to maintain our ability to go to the bond market.
But I think we took that out or some, I think I searched on bonds and there was nothing
it
else.
shouldn't be
I
an issue.
definitely,
It doesn't have to say
It's-
the word bond.
I feel like I saw something.
Yeah, it's,
maybe not
it's in
bond.
there.
Does it say about,
It reiterates the element of sound fiscal management required for sustaining a high
Debt
credit
market.
rating and
Market.
financial management flexibility, allowing the town of North Stonington to go to the debt market when needed.
so we
That's
said
how it
borrow
ties in.
funds.
Is that
Yeah,
my-
debt market.
That's in the fund policy language.
Because the debt market could be really low, correct me if I'm wrong, could be get a loan, could lease it, it could be anything.
Yeah. and Lou edited that to say to borrow funds at a reasonable cost.
I think the element is important because I seem to remember a couple of times we've gotten in discussions with taxpayers during open comment about why this exists. And I think foundationally, we need to be able to state why it exists. So if we need to borrow money, we need to be able to point and say, we're a good risk and this is why.
Exactly. Exactly. So could I propose just one thing, like, so we have the rationale, which kind of sets up why we're doing this. You have the undesignated fund policy, which goes over bullet points of what it does. And then I think we probably should have the undesignated fund balance usage right after that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that would be helpful.
And in that, you have the town of North Stonington is required by Connecticut state statutes to adopt a balanced budget for each year. And there may be unforeseen circumstances that require the Board of Selectmen to seek additional funding. And any expenditure of the undesignated fund by the Board of Selectmen for any such purposes then requires the approval and then have that. So you just, at least in that, the usage you have, that it's to change any bound or any budgeted items and also any unforeseen items. That's the only thing.
Yeah, I want to make sure we're clear here. I don't want to open the gates for anything that possibly comes up. It should be budgeted. And if it's not budgeted, it should go to the town, because this undesignated fund should not exist to fund requests that aren't necessarily coming from town entities.
I don't
That
I don't
concerns me.
disagree.
So,
Yeah.
let's just make sure the wording is right around that. I just don't want to leave it wide open.
You can copy like, insurance company language when it's like force majeure, wouldn't, that's that sort of stuff.
So if we're leaving, I don't know, I feel like I'm sitting next to a lawyer feeling like I'm playing a lawyer on TV. I know he's a judge now, sorry. He doesn't have to be a lawyer to be a judge.
Still a lawyer.
Oh,
A lawyer for what?
He stayed at a Holiday Inn
So-
last night.
if we leave something like that, this policy, this sentence and the usage, doesn't it just like, then is everything else just a recommendation? Like pay, like there's in the event of an overage, here's what you can use it for. But down, like, and I know we're gonna change the order, but down here at the bottom, it's also like, but you can use it for kind of whatever you need. So
Well,
I'm not
Yeah,
saying that.
that's why I said there's two
Yeah.
separate situations where this policy comes into play. How are we able to use the undesignated fund on regular circumstances? Whether it's at 8.5% to 17%,
yeah.
and then the second one is what happens if it goes below? And what happens if the balance goes above? Then that's a totally separate thing where you say, this is what you're allowed to use it for, and this is what we have to, when we have to act.
so when it's
we just need to
within
call
the
that out.
bucket, you can use it for this.
Yes.
And when it's outside of the bucket, you can only use it for
Or the
these
bucket's
things.
empty,
Yes.
or the bucket's empty.
I
No,
like
it's
Lou's
either-
facial expression.
Yeah, so if there's more, if there's extra, you can
Yeah.
only use it for these specific
Yeah.
things.
And
You said that it's. Right, exactly.
Yes. Well, and again, I want to look at the mechanics of how that could even work, but it can only be expended during these ways. How do we do that?
That's only if there's an overage,
Correct.
as it identifies here. You would do it with a refund, which is, I think, highly unlikely because of the cost of something like that. A reduction in the mill rate, which would probably happen as a result of the budget that's presented. Or as we are about to do, pay down some debt, so that'll be then reflected in the upcoming budget. That's pretty straightforward. I don't know what more we need to clarify.
I think it's just that it just needs some, if there, I don't see the word only in there at all. Like it is only permissible to when,
The
like,
word shall is mandatory.
shall, that's
Yeah.
a lawyer word.
It is.
No, that's engineering, that's anywhere where if you use
If
shall,
you say
it's-
may, then you have other uses. Shall, this is what
Okay.
you
What you
do.
have to do.
Yeah.
All right.
I live it
there
every
we go.
day.
Shall beats only.
No, on top of that, though, I mean, I made a note from last meeting. Any part of the policy can be waived. So long as we're in agreement to do it. So in the case of that, we have some pending action that I think we can all recognize coming up from across the street. We may choose to ignore this until that gets resolved.
I was just gonna ask that.
So
Should there be a line in there that says if there's some unforeseen stuff that's coming that we have no idea how much, where, or from, are we allowed to put a hold on it at this time until that is resolved?
You can make a motion anytime to do that.
Hmm.
Right. You guys gotta make the motion. I can't.
Or if you want to include that in the policy, where we just say, in the event there's an over, it doesn't matter if there's a shortfall,
Right.
we have to deal with that. But if there's an overage, we can waive it if there's some pending action that could significantly impact. the
Somebody can make, a
undesignated fund.
yeah, but somebody can make a motion saying that we want to suspend this until a certain thing, and then it's a simple vote.
So you can do it either way.
yeah, I would rather not,
I don't want to muddy it
It's
up.
an administrative
I don't-
action,
I don't
so
wanna-
so
I don't-
why
I don't
codify
wanna
something that we
say
can handle as an administrative
I'm
action?
okay with why I asked. We just have to recognize that's potential happen.
Okay, all right, all right.
So then,
I mean,
I'm good. If that's the case, then this really doesn't matter a whole lot.
You could just,
It's general guidance and we can change it if we want to.
Oh,
That's fine.
that's true with any policy.
No, I'm just recognizing
But
like,
it does, when you do have your own, have a stated policy, it's incumbent upon the people looking to do something different
yeah.
to defend their action. That's
Yeah.
why we ought to do
Companies do,
that all the time.
companies do temporary standing orders all the time where they go and saying, hey, due to this issue, this extreme issue or some issue, we're waiving this requirement because of this, this, and this, and they put a timetable on it
Yeah.
and they vote on it and they go on the merry way.
But you had to do all that, go outside of the policy.
Yeah, it's to
Just
cover,
can't
it's to
do it
cover
on
your
your own.
backside. So if everybody questions it, you have something to fall on.
I mean, I guess it's a cart before the horse type thing. Like, say you have, you're gonna have a big expenditure. That's gonna be town debt. Right? So can you then say we are gonna use the policy for that town debt? Even though it's not, putting the cart before the horse. So. I mean, so that, does that still fall within the policy of lowering town debt?
And if that town debt goes over the amount of fund.
or the overage.
I'm just talking about if we had an overage and you wanted to use it for something and you knew you had something coming up and you didn't want to do anything with it,
You could set
is
it
that
aside.
still a proper use of the fund per the policy? That's what I'm saying.
Hold on to it till that is finished.
I know, but then, are you using it per the policy, to Gary's point?
I-
Are you using it to reduce the mill rate? No. Are you reducing the town debt? You would at that point if you haven't done anything about the overage.
So like, that's part of why I put in there 12 months to make that decision. So as I'm envisioning it, something's coming and something we're gonna have to pay. It should find its way into the upcoming budget because we've got this essentially almost 2 years worth of time to analyze all of this. So that's why I did the 12 and 12. So that if there was this looming thing, we'd have plenty of time to incorporate it into a regular budget.
I had a hard spot with the 12 and 12. I'm fine with 12, but not 12 and 12.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, I agree.
given the opportunity to not act,
We
most
won't,
people will
yeah, we
take that
won't.
opportunity.
And
Well, the point, the reason I did that though, was that if the fund has this overage, and then all of a sudden it gets absorbed because of things that have happened in town, well, then that would trigger, we gotta wait and see if there's another 12 months where we're over. That's, I don't think we'd wanna move really quickly. If in the month of July, we've got 20%, then, do we really want to move that quickly?
No,
I
no,
mean, this
but-
allows
but
you
as soon- as soon
a
as we
year.
Go over, it should start the clock for a year.
For 12 months.
Right.
Yeah.
And then from there, you've got 12 months to cause the fund to go down to its stated balance, 17.5%.
One 12 month, not 24. That's where
Well,
I'm.
I'm only using the first 12 months as the marker. So you do only have 12 months to get. to the goal.
So you're saying within 12 months, you're saying,
With-
12
as I said,
months to decide.
in 12
months to
yeah,
act.
No, I
yeah.
said within the following 12 months. Anytime within the following 12 months. You've got to do one of those three things.
So at month 6, you designate that it's over. You start the clock for 12 months, then plan another 12 months to try and get rid of it?
Yep.
No, I disagree with that. I think it should be you discover it, then the 12 months from there. I mean,
Okay,
We are
so-
way over
right
what
now-
we had
I think
before,
what- I think
and
what
we
we're-
went past it and we're running around here.
Okay, then, so I think what we're actually having no problem with, I put in, they had to be over for a period of 12 consecutive months.
Yeah.
What I'm hearing is,
No,
once it's over at
That's
any date,
then the clock starts.
it's that- so we,
Yeah, because I
we
think
get
Dan
rid of,
said it would, within a year, we had to have it fixed.
Yeah.
so in that case, you would take out of that for a period of 12 consecutive months and say, exceed the maximum level of the annual operating expenditures. The Board of Finance shall, within the following 12 months, reduce the undesignated fund. You eliminate that 12 months.
Yeah, but in the meantime, if something happens, if Bob bumps a budget somewhere and it suddenly he has to appropriate and it comes within budget, it resets the clock. So no harm, no foul.
No, right, I, agree, yeah,
And
I honestly just put that in there so we'd have a little bit of wiggle room. What's that?
But if we have an extenuating circumstance where we want to hold that money over because of something coming and looming, we can just do a vote on it. So it's-
Yeah,
Yeah, we're not forced.
Right. So I think that's good.
but we would then have to do that as a board, say we're waiving this policy for that
Yeah.
reason, which we can do.
I think that's
For a
more of
specific-
a, like,
for a specific item.
Right.
yeah, for a specific item. I think, because I think the needing, to me, the needing to go the extra 12 months is like an edge case,
Mm-hmm.
whereas the majority of time we should be able to manage it within a year.
It's going to be glaring sitting in front of us for that whole 12 months, right, Gary? We won't lose sight of it.
Neither will it tax-
It didn't take us long to act when we found out that it was gonna be over, so.
Which, when you think about it.
I mean, it
we
just
went-
says that, you have a year for it to be over before you are required to act.
We acted within 6 months. That's pretty quick.
So I think the policy is fine as it is. But I like what you're saying,
Right.
like,
I would like, and I'm not putting the you in team, but I'd like to see a straw man of how you would restructure it. Winona, as far as
How you
making
wanna-
logical order. Want to take a whack at that, or uh-oh, I'm getting a look.
No, I just have to, I just have to think about. I mean, if Dan's point is, it's not supposed to be in logical order, it's just supposed to be like, here are the sections. But putting it in how my brain would think about it seems like a pretty easy thing to do, because there's like timing involved, and then we already talked about moving like the usage like up. So I could do that and just.
I'd just like to see if it helps us.
Well, let's just look at it. Besides moving the usage up,
I think it's
on the
usually
second page,
the annual.
what are you
review.
gonna move around there? I mean,
Was it
the
the annual?
second page that I wrote.
So we're talking about rationale, policy, usage, right?
Policy shall provide use undesignated fund limits. If it's short, we gotta do this. If it's over, we gotta do that. I'm not sure what's the change in that section.
So I thought it was just
Well, the
an order
review.
of operations. It wasn't changing the words. It was putting it.
I'm just asking you, of the order, what on that? I'm
So-
talking-
I think that the annual review should come after policy.
That's fine.
So it goes usage review and then shortfall overage.
Mhm.
I don't have a problem with that.
And honestly, you could probably even move under the usage and everything. You could probably move that last page where it talks about any expenditure for the undesignated fund for the Board of Selectmen for unbudgeted items per state, general statute, blah, blah, blah. And it talks about the 20,000. You can probably roll that right into the usage.
It is. in
That
the
is
usage.
the
Is
This
it?
in the-
That
Oh,
is
oh,
usage.
wait,
So we're
am I
gonna-
looking at a different copy?
Yeah, so it's gonna go rationale,
Oh, oh,
policy.
perfect.
So rationale, policy, usage,
Yeah.
review, shortfall overage.
Yeah,
I
I like that.
I'd give it a stab and just move it around.
So if we had that for next meeting, a picture of that, so we could all look at it again and see if it looks good, is that fine?
Put it right up there.
And yeah, we can actually put it up there.
Yeah,
Or-
make any changes real time and then,
You want to put it on 3x5 cards and we'll move them around like shuffle?
She's not laughing.
If we had like those big, I have those big sticky notes that are like the
Ah.
big Post-it notes that are like this big. We could do
Yeah, some
that.
yarn that we can like,
I think the big question is like what version we're using, but when we talk about the overage though, and Lou, you said this, like it would be too cost prohibitive to do a tax refund. But we still have that on this list. I mean, is that true? Is it,
I-
is that something that doesn't even make
did I use
sense?
the word refund?
I
in it?
wouldn't,
Hold on.
I wouldn't remove it as an option. If it becomes viable, you can do it. I think it'd be regulating. That as soon as you say, let's do a refund, you find out how much it's going to cost. You wouldn't do it unless somehow we could do it very inexpensive.
So I took that from another town and I just changed town of North Stonington to it. It said basically the refund to the taxpayers of the town of North Stonington in the form of, basically it's saying that, well, you're taking it out. This is the way, not saying it's gonna be a direct refund. This is
So
how
it'd be
you,
the mill
Could
rate
be like a
change.
credit.
yeah, this
like
is
a
how you do a
credit on-
credit. You credit back, refund credit. It's kind of, that's the usage of the word. It's not, you're gonna get,
So it's like, not we're sending checks.
no, we're not
It's
sending
just a
checks.
Change to the
It's
mill rate or change to the town. debt.
correct. That is how you would refund the overage.
Okay. And so the town debt we are doing via this, the capital change that we're
Mhm.
proposing, that'll be at the
Yep.
town meeting next week.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
that's that action. What would be the actual action to change the mill rate? At the time we set a budget.
Yeah.
What would we do to reduce the mill rate?
We've done it twice.
Yeah, you take the, you,
By,
at-
by paying down some of the bills?
No, by setting a mill rate that doesn't quite cover the full amount of the expected budget and the balance of that comes out.
By taking it out of the undesignated fund?
We've never actually ended up having to take it out because we always end up with enough money through the year, but.
But
so
that's the mechanism.
That's the
is to-
mechanism.
But we're talking about
Which-
fractions, right? Like that we've done fractions.
correct.
I
It
Yeah.
could become a big item. I
Yeah.
mean, Have $1 million short.
During COVID, we had to use $400,000.
It was 880 and then we dropped it to 440 and then there
So
was a reval year.
I'm glad you brought this up, Winona, because in the usage section, that should be in there that we use it for mill rate stabilization. That should be in, that
Is
should be in
that
the
in there?
usage section.
So it's
Is it
in
worth
Yeah, it's right
asking?
here.
It's in there.
And the original one's right there unless it got taken out.
Wait, is that in the
That's in the, that's in
rationale?
the, that's in the policy. I'm just saying, this, keep that in the usage section too.
Yeah, you can slide it over.
You know, put it
Sarah,
in there, just say
You
like,
make sure you're on the right
Yeah,
copy.
right here, wait, hold on. The policy.
So wait, where do we want this to be,
It's-
Mike?
there's-
Wait a minute, on the usage, it says the undesignated fund may be utilized to balance the budget. With the
That's
approval of
stable.
the finance board. That's what we're talking about.
That's stabilization.
what-
Now
where are
you
you,
guys
where
have
are you
me
looking, Lou?
confused.
Under undesignated fund balance usage.
Yeah, this,
In the original policy, second section,
but it's,
third bullet there. Making adequate
Yeah, but that's in the, like Mike was saying, it's in the policy section, not in.
The usage section.
So how about if we combined policy and usage and made
could.
it all one nice, beautiful section?
There you go.
You could make the whole thing one big thing. It's just.
One big
it
beautiful
ease
bill?
in identifying
Yeah.
things. Yeah,
Right, V2.
Sure.
This one would work.
I feel like there are people very invested in this, so I'm gonna
I'm not.
say, I don't have a lot of opinions. I
Not it.
genuinely agree with the approach. So
I love it.
if somebody is that, I'm a big fan of, if you're that enthusiastic, take the pen. I'm happy to review, but I don't need to continue to comment. I think we've gotten to a good place.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm gonna move around the sections. I will combine policy and usage, and then I am going to send it to Mike, who then can decide what he's gonna do with these edits.
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing your language changes and I do like what I'm seeing, so,
Hmm.
I mean, that's, you know, we're the nuts and bolts is what we want. And just on the usage, you know, obviously there's the, you know, when we have to use for budgetary items, They have to use for the items that were listed in the policy. Or the fund can be used for the purposes within the policy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm gonna,
And then just put the language in about the fact that we need the Board of Selectmen to approve it and brought to us. And any expenditure has to go over $20,000, has to go to a town
yeah,
meeting.
I'm gonna combine those two sections and then, and I'm gonna rearrange as we discussed.
Yep.
And then you can see the edits that Lou made and you
Yep.
can pick what you want to keep.
Yep.
Okay.
Love
Are
it.
we going to practice again, bringing this to the Board of Selectmen and the town treasurer to have them sign off on it as well?
They're just acknowledging it. It's our
Okay,
policy.
that's Right,
Yeah.
okay.
All right, we're gonna vote, we're gonna look at this again on the
Yeah. Oh,
17th
yeah, we're gonna have to. look
of
at that.
December. And we're gonna have it finalized, signed off, and they can acknowledge that they've received it. Okay,
Thank you.
anything further?
Thank you, Lou and
Winona for
Winona
doing that,
and
yep.
Gary for your edits.
Bring back on 12/17 for vote. So just, Ed, for purposes, just say we're, we're tabling this to the 12/17 meeting for finalization. All right, on agenda item 6,
Wait,
Wait a minute, wait a
you
minute.
got policies discussion.
Yeah,
There was two.
we have the funding for not-for-profit.
I said that at the beginning that I'd rather table that, given how long this was. I thought this was gonna take as long as it has. And I didn't have,
Can we get it on the next meeting?
Yeah.
Okay.
it was planned to be for the 12/17 meeting. That will definitely be on there. Cause I wanna see if I can just have a clear copy of whatever changes you made to lose. And kind of do the same thing. We don't necessarily have to vote on that one at that time, but we're definitely gonna it's definitely gonna be on there.
Yep. I'm good. Thanks.
And just so we're talking about. I'll talk about this on that agenda item number 9.
Well, sorry, can I just get caught up on that? Did we have a nonprofit?
Never
policy
had, we've
before
never
we
had one.
And did somebody draft one or?
Lou
somebody-
did.
You drafted one?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
so-
an email to us.
Lou drafted one. If I'm following, Lou drafted one. I don't believe that Gary sent one.
I didn't send it to the
I know
board. I
you
sent it
and
back
I-
to Lou, but I can.
you and I
send
worked
the-
back and
the
forth on
current
it.
Draft, and it's just a straw man as to what we were thinking.
I
Okay,
sent
so there-
ideas, I sent
And
ideas to
it's-
him and he typed up.
I mean, this is gonna get into a long discussion. That probably deserves.
So there's
the next
more,
meeting.
okay, so there are.
I don't have a
more-
problem. I mean, I don't, let's, if we
We don't
have
have-
preliminaries to
Yeah,
make
yeah.
sure that we have everything ready to go on the 17, I have no problem. I did say policies and, so Lou had sent out an email with the proposed new policy.
All right, if there are multiple copies, we need prints because I don't have multiple.
Well,
So-
there's one original one that he sent.
So, but did that come from Dan?
No,
I don't, so I have a,
Send it to you, Mike, and you
maybe I did. Yeah,
I,
I think, yes, I did. It was me.
Mike sent it,
Yes.
And where is it?
so then,
Capital
wait, when,
appropriation.
where, what?
let's see,
It was
I just
for
see
our,
undesignated fund. I feel like I see Dan has two NFP, not for profit.
Yep.
policy.
yes.
All of a sudden I
Wait,
can't load
that's-
files
Dan
if you
has
go
one?
in.
No, I worked with all.
So what are we looking for? Don't remember.
I sent stuff.
Okay, Dan Smith.
Are we gonna do this now? I'm gonna wait.
I wasn't suggesting we do it now. I just
just-
just wanted to
yeah.
get caught up on the,
Yeah, I want to make sure I know how
All
many
right,
we
I
have.
sent out on 10/20 Lou's original NFP policy.
Okay, so there's a 10/20
Oh.
from Mike,
And there's one with Gary Newell comments. That's it.
and that's from you, Dan? that's the one on 11.
After 11:05, the last meeting.
All right, that's the 11:05 from Dan.
All right, so let's plan on discussing, and if anyone else has their own edits, then they're gonna have to, do
Okay.
their thing. And then please provide copies for everybody on hard copy.
Mm.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
So am I able to get these sent to me? Because I just updated I just got the email, so I don't have it.
Right,
the
right. I
policies
think,
sent to-
Bob, are we redoing the Board of Finance list email that now includes Ed and Suzanne did that? Okay,
Did-
all right.
did
That's all I
you-
need to
So
know.
emails prior, obviously, I won't have, though. That's the only thing. So
Yeah, yeah,
these
well-
policies that were sent out back in October, if I can maybe get them
So,
forwarded to me.
I'm
okay,
gonna send
so
you a
Ed
copy right
is
now.
on the new Board of Finance distribution list
Yeah,
now.
which
I
Ed
guess.
one?
McGowan, I got you. I'm sending it right now.
Great, thank you.
Which
This
one?
is
There's
Lou's.
two.
Send Lou's. I'm
There's
sending Lou's.
two.
Yeah, there's BOF members and there's Board of Finance members. Which one is, I know which one, there's one that doesn't work, and I always pick the wrong
So
one.
Board of Finance members is the one that I just picked, and that's the one that has Ed on it.
I'm just sending it to Ed directly.
Okay, but so just for clarity though, the Board of Finance members distribution list is the one that has Ed on
Okay.
Yeah, this
it. So
one
the
that
other
did-
one you need to delete from your list.
No, it needs to get deleted out of the system because it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'd rather,
Now
I'd
I
love
have-
being able to type in BOF and be able to, to everybody.
um,
All right, so Dan, can you send Ed
Okay.
directly that one
Mike
that,
and Dan.
Gary
So
sent
those are,
out?
we only have two sets then.
just two things.
sets.
Yep.
Okay,
Lou's original and one with Gary's comments.
okay.
All right, so if anyone else takes a crack at it, just send it to everybody before the 17th meeting and have copies, hard copies at the meeting. Anything further on agenda item number 5? All right, we're good. So I know I have budget calendar on here. I mean, I think it's more, that's gonna be in conjunction with Bob and Suzanne when we do that. That's gonna be an ongoing conversation. The meeting schedule has to go in, and I this year I did contact Christine Wagner to make sure that we didn't do something that was conflicting with them. I did that wrongly in January, we got all messed up. So Board of Ed's the second and fourth Wednesday of each month, so we're the first and third. So starting in January, our first meeting will be on the 7th. It'll be on the 7th of January and the 21st of January. Then we'll be on the 4th and 18th in February.
What is it again? Mike?
2/4, 2/18,
But I mean, what was,
First and third.
first and third.
And in March, we're only gonna meet.
Then
on the
March,
first
then
and
March
the
is when we
third.
get
Wild.
wild.
that's exciting.
Mean roller coaster?
We see each other all the time.
Every day.
Yes. Love it.
So
Or
we would,
Picasso
we
cookies.
would definitively be meeting on the 4th and the 18th.
Oh, thanks, Bob.
Yeah, no, I think we put them on. Yep. Yep. So we got 2, 9, 16, 18, and 23rd.
It's all about
Oh, I'm
us.
sorry, we have an extra one. We have a 30th too. 23rd,
Oh, it's a 5 Monday a month. Oh,
yeah.
gross.
The budget, yeah. Budget has to.
So April, we are on the 1st and the 15th. 1st and 15th. No. Those will be special meetings if we need them. In May, the 6th and the 20th. June, the 3rd and 17th. Yeah, in July, it's either the 1st and 15th. I think we'll just put it at the 15th. Do we have to set the mill rate? Right, right. All right, we'll
I-
put it on the 15th, July.
So yeah, I think we do one in July, one in August.
In September.
May is the 6th and the 20th.
If we have to. If we have to, we,
Um,
worst case, we can always set a special meeting.
we have to-
It's been done before.
August,
One,
we have a choice between the 5th, 12th, 19th, and 26th. My vote's the 19th.
yeah, I like that.
September, we go back to normal schedule. It's the 2nd and the 16th. Yep. What? August, just went on the 19th. 9/2 and 9/16. October will be the 7th and the 21st. November, the 4th and the 18th.
Yeah, it's like going to the dentist. Oh, here you go.
And December, we have the 2nd and the 16th. All right,
Sounds good to me.
it doesn't work out. No,
No,
because yeah, there's 1st and 3rd, and sometimes it's just.
yeah, but I give myself a heart attack and I just put it on every Wednesday.
All right, the budget calendar will be,
It forces me to
a
look.
kind of a joint thing in the next,
I mean,
you have it, we have it.
we're meeting in January, right? Bob, this year, we're meeting in January, not in December, correct? Yeah. 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 Tri-board is the 5th.
It's January 5th.
Sorry, so that you said the tri-board is when?
January 5th.
Is that ours?
No,
Is that, who chairs it?
Board of Ed.
Okay.
And then we have the one right after the budget.
January 5th is like,
So far away.
we're all gonna be holiday hungover, I think.
When did you send out the budget calendar? When do you want to adopt it? Okay. Report. Yeah, I'm not seeing it anywhere. All right,
I
we're-
didn't send the minutes yet. I'm sorry. And I almost
If you
finished all
wouldn't,
the
if
training.
Susan wouldn't mind sending out that proposed budget calendar. Okay. And we'll put this back on for next meeting. All right, so we have our meeting schedule. We'll talk about the budget calendar at the next meeting. And we're all up to date with minutes except for the last meeting, which are forthcoming.
Correct. I will do those. But so what I did do instead was work on all of the training, which there's only 2 days left. So if you haven't done it, there's only 2 days left.
I did
So
it
at
and
the-
I think I did it, Bob.
At the last meeting, that was supposed to be a point of discussion, and either I didn't hear it in the tape or it wasn't discussed, but is that thing real?
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
real. I questioned it.
It's not just me, Sarah's asking also, I mean.
Okay.
Now, that
So
was discussed. I think Susan or Bob said, it is real and
it is, so it's no
I went through it.
before
It's.
you. It's no before you. It's
same
not
stuff I
that,
got from the state.
it's like an hour.
The
right?
sender is no before you. Sarah.
No, before, before number
Before,
four.
Yeah.
And it is, but and
There
it's like
was-
an hour. but
There was an introduction to the email that was coming from the town of North Stonington, so, but no, it's a good question, to question it if it's legit or not, and it is.
That's in the training.
So,
Yeah.
So,
So
but-
Yes.
private digital teaches us not to open
Yeah,
anything we don't.
exactly.
like.
So,
Yeah.
and that you will learn in this training, not to
Yeah.
open
Security.
anything like this email, but. So I was working on that instead of the minute. So there's,
So
but
what are
it's-
you doing?
there's like 8 modules that you have to
Oh,
do.
it's
And it's like an hour and 15
What do
minutes
you- what do you do
total.
if you don't do 'em?
Yeah,
I
more
don't know, but
importantly,
there's-
that question.
Okay, but there's only 2
What
days
happens if you
left.
don't do it?
What, yeah, what happens? if
You
don't
have to be the secretary.
That would be Bob.
do it?
Bob,
I'm serious. What
no,
happens?
yeah,
if
Bob,
it's not
what
done?
happens with that? So my question is it just the town employees and elected officials doing that, or is it all the school?
It's all staff that have a North Stonington email.
Does
So
that-
whether you're on a board or commission, if you're an employee, everybody got that, note before you.
Are teachers and everybody else and the administration of the school have to do this also?
That's,
No. Are they going to be doing a similar training? Okay, got it.
So once again, I'll ask the question. What happens if you don't do it? Yeah.
we
Picked
can
up.
resend it to you, Lou.
No,
We
no,
could-
no, that's not the question. What if we just NBI, noted but ignored? I mean,
Yeah. Just
Well-
do it.
You're not gonna get paid, Gary.
I know. Suzanne, I'll take it. Don't worry about it. This is one of the reasons I retired. So I consider this falls under the sneak attack.
You're doing it for the town, Gary. It's for the town.
I'm feeling it too.
All right, so we're on to public comment. Anybody online want to talk?
So there's,
Nothing in
there's
the
no
audience?
room in the agenda for the board to have public comment. And I don't know if this is where it falls, but we touched on it briefly. Knowing that something's coming about this cyber attack, should we be putting a moratorium or a pause on the undesignated fund other than business critical town asks?
I
Until
think-
we know what that is.
I think absolutely.
I think that's just a head nod. I don't think we need a formal vote. I think we just,
Okay,
it's a
Yeah,
collective
yeah,
whole.
yeah.
okay.
I don't foresee anything at this point, and it would certainly be vigorously debated if that ever was
Yeah.
to come up, if there was other requests. But I think I could probably as a matter of course, right now, there is, until we know certain definitive expenditures that are likely to happen, anything else is tabled.
Got it.
So your chair and your vice chair are on the same page.
All right, how about as far as if anyone else is to come to us for an appropriation, are we allowed to request paperwork that covers or shows us why they need that money? As far as the bills.
We can do whatever we can do that, whatever we
Okay.
want, yeah. And I think Bob had touched on this before, they do that kind of vetting.
They do.
Yeah, I'm saying, but we can also, we're gonna require the same information if we want.
Okay,
And I think that probably falls in line with, we're not doing anything with the budget, with the undesignated fund until we know where we're at.
Are they on any of our upcoming agendas to explain where we are with that?
I had originally planned to have, because we do have their financials, from, I think, September. And I think October's are coming up, and it's gonna be in a short window. And I am talking to Christine about when they're gonna be able to come to us with a really solid number. And I don't know if that's gonna be in the next 2 meetings. But it will be, that whole thing will be in a full agenda item on top of whatever discussing whatever financials they have at that point. So the costs associated with the cyber attack that occurred and any preventative measures, it's still raw, and we have a change of officers there that, and new people there that all have to get up to speed. So we're gonna cut them some slack right now and just, we're not, the chair of the Board of Ed and I will be in contact, and we'll have them on the agenda as soon as we can. Fair enough? And we have, as Gary just pointed out, we're in hold pattern with regard to any expenditures from the undesignated fund. Yeah, that's part of our, and then we can put it under, the number 5 too, as far as the policy situation is concerned. Yeah, put it in under 5. I wanted to just make a comment on, the next meeting is December 3rd. Some people from Wheeler Library thought they were gonna be on every agenda, or at least today's agenda. Which I looked back, and we're gonna do a vote on that on the next meeting on December 3rd. So I will have them on the agenda for December 3rd, because it has to be voted to go back to the Board of Selectmen to put to a town meeting.
Didn't we just cover that when we said nothing out of the undesignated fund until we find out what's coming from the school? That's a big ask.
I know it is, but we have,
Well,
I don't see how one has to do with it. Definitely has to do with the undesignated fund.
one of them, the whole Wheel Library, we asked for how this thing is gonna get funded, where it's either gonna go, if we could go to bond, or it's gonna be a loan, or however it's gonna be. There you go.
I don't necessarily, we can certainly have this conversation when it's on the agenda. I just want to let you know, and that's, Gary, that's up for, you know,
I hate to have them come expecting us to vote if we're not gonna vote on it. And honestly, I don't think we should vote on it till we know what the school's gonna bring us, because that's 25% of the undesignated fund gonna be spoken for. Go ahead, Bob.
There you go, Bob.
So I've been busy at work on this. Since I know that we weren't going to probably take this out of the undesignated fund, I probably couldn't bond it. I talked to our town attorney who put me in touch with a guy named Matt Ritter. You might know him. He's the Speaker of the House. I talked to Matt for some time. He works for Shipman and Goldman. He is the town of
Shipman and
financial. Goodwin, right? Shipman. So lending attorney. He's done a lot for Ledyard, Gales Ferry, Preston, many towns he's worked with. He's got me in touch with someone named Cindy Palmer from Dime Bank. I had a long conversation with her. She right now was giving me an estimate on a $1 million loan for 10 years and for 20 years, what it might look like with interest. And then when I get that all information, which I should have in about 2 weeks, I was going to bring it back to the Board of Finance, just to let you know, this could be an option.
okay.
Then you guys decide whether you think it's an option or not, but at least I'll have hard numbers. And we have to decide when we voted, the Board of Selectmen voted not to exceed $1 million. Obviously, this is $1 million plus interest. So we'd have to talk about that.
Okay. So
I'm not even trying to take it out of the.
the
undesignated
Wheeler,
fund.
let's just for points of order, the discussions and it doesn't, we can decide not to vote on the 3rd and put it off to the 17th and we talked about what would be a good timeline for there to be a referendum. So that can be continued discussions on the 3rd, given your points on, we don't know what the ramifications are of costs we know are coming. But I don't really want to get too substantive into it. And I'd like to have, if you don't have that information by the 3rd, we'll certainly talk about it on the 17th.
When I get it, I'll let you know so you can put me in the next agenda. But I think it'd be, if, once I have it, it'll be a nice, clean question for the Board of Finance, for the Board of Selectmen, for the town. Shall the town, obtain a loan for $1 million plus whatever interest is for 10 years or 20 years, whatever we decide is best for the town.
Okay.
At least now I have an avenue, which I didn't have before. I was like, do we bond it? How do we get this money?
Right.
And then after talking to Cindy at Dime Bank, she says, I do this all the time. And $1 million isn't a big deal for what we do. We do municipality lending all the time.
And that, depending on which mechanism we follow, assuming it goes to the town, that's got to be included in the referendum as to how we're doing this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There was also discussion at the last meeting that I heard in the video or the follow-up that you wanted to have it outside the town budget meeting. I don't agree with that. Why would we have a separate referendum on this? Why would we spend the money on a separate referendum for this?
It was more to, I think, allow them to get boots in the ground in March
But
or April.
from what I heard from their presentation, March wasn't critical for them. They had some flexibility about that timing. So I've heard enough at other meetings on other topics about how much a referendum costs. It strikes me as odd that we would have a referendum early in the year when we know we have a budget one coming right around the corner. We could avoid some costs. And we know we're going to have the turnout. So I'm good.
Okay. All valid points for the December 3rd meeting. And, I don't want, they're not on, most people aren't watching this meeting from the Wheeler, so I don't really want to get into too much of it. But everything's on the table on the 3rd when we have them back here and we can all discuss it together. Okay? Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So 8:40.